Shift happens, sometimes by choice, sometimes by circumstance. And when it does, you have two options. You can either cling to the life you've outgrown or step into the version of you that knows she's meant for more. I'm Gialacqua, trauma-informed empowerment coach and founder of Radical Prioritization. Welcome to What the Shift, the podcast for women who've outgrown the life they've built and are ready to create one that finally fits. Here we get real about the shifts that change everything: identity shifts, career pivots, relationship resets, mindset breakthroughs, and learning how to finally release what's holding you back. You don't have to have it all figured out. Just be ready for what's next. It's time to shift. If you feel like life is shifting, you are in the right place. I'm Gialacqua, and welcome to What the Shift. Today, I am so excited to introduce you to Dr. Tara Harding. Dr. Tara is a distinguished leader in women's health, infertility, and medical gaslighting with over a decade of clinical experience and a doctorate in nursing practice. As a globally recognized family nurse practitioner, Dr. Tara has been featured in outlets like BuzzFeed, Today's Parent, and Mira. And her TikTok videos have garnered over 15 million views. She's the host of the globally downloaded podcast, Hopeful Hints. She combines advanced clinical expertise with a passion for advocacy, empowering audiences to challenge healthcare norms and prioritize self-advocacy. Dr. Tara, welcome to the show. So thrilled to have you join us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It just sounds so fun when you read that. I don't listen to about myself enough, so thank you for that.
Oh my gosh, there's so much stuff I want to talk to you about. This is your work is incredible. So let's start with your experience with medical gaslighting. I think we all know what it is, but maybe you can touch upon kind of what that means. And your experience is both as a patient and a provider, which is a very unique perspective. And then it led you to a number of other things. But tell us a little bit about kind of the backstory.
Yeah. So it started in my own healthcare journey, like you said. I was working in an underserved rural health clinic, my own hometown, whopping 750 people. It had crazy. And I was, ER, hospital, clinic, nursing. I was running the whole thing with two other nurse practitioners. And I was at the peak of what I thought was like my career. And I was in committees and this and that. And it was time to start a family. And it was, okay, it's going to happen. Here we go. Let's just magic, snap the fingers. We said we're ready. It's going to happen. And it wasn't happening. And fast forward about 6 months into trying to conceive, had a miscarriage. And I contacted my OBGYN's office, and it wasn't her. It was a different member of her staff. But I was met with, well, when you're ready for the next steps, let us know. And I was like, okay, I'm ready for those next steps. And she's like, well, it's only been 6 months. And I was like, okay, but I have why am I not conceiving? I really was met with no answers right away. Fast forward 2 months later, I called and I was like, I'm ready. She's like, well, you do know you're going to have, I lived 120 miles from their office. And it was this whole production, like, well, you do know you're going to have to drive. And when you're crazy enough and ready enough, then you can start IUI. And I'm like, I'm already in counseling. I had put myself in counseling at this point. Little did they know. So fast forward, I actually had met with my OBGYN and she said, you're done. We're going to just send you to reproductive endocrinology. And I was met with unexplained infertility was my diagnoses. And it was in that moment, I was like, I'm sorry, what? Like, I don't get to just say, sorry, unexplained, not sure why you're here at the clinic today, or the ER or the hospital is going to diagnose this as unexplained. And I was really like caught off guard as a healthcare provider with that. Like, I want answers. You've done absolutely everything possible. So after failing 3 IUIs, moved on to a new clinic to get an IVF consultation. And it looks like you might have endometriosis. I don't know. But at that point, I wanted a baby yesterday. So he's like, we're just going to change your protocol to act as if you have endometriosis. And it wasn't even said until we only got 2 genetically normal embryos. And I was like, why only 2? People usually get, 6 at my age at that point, or whatever the magic number is. And that was when he had said, you probably have endometriosis, but we're just going to move forward, pivot your protocol and go. When I was pregnant, only one of the 2 embryos implanted, another red flag for me. And I know a lot goes into that, but I was like, well, at that point, if I'm healthy and everything's fine, these 2 should have both implanted. At 32 weeks, I woke up that morning. It was right before Thanksgiving. I was supposed to be on call for the ER and I had a huge gush of blood. on the toilet. And I was on the toilet going, do I call my OBGYN? Do I call 911? I am 911. I can't even call it. Like, I am that. So I called one of my other providers that was on call currently for the last 30 minutes. And I was like, I can't, I'm not coming in. Like, I'm bleeding. I don't know what's going on. So I started driving to the magic 120-mile journey. And the OBGYN said, get to the closest ER. I'm sending a helicopter. And I was life flighted. I was like, no, I can get there faster. She's like, get to the ER. You're now the patient. Stop trying to be the provider. Get to the ER now. And so I went to the ER, was life flighted, got to the OBGYN, and they couldn't find anything wrong. They had no answer to why this happened. Everything had resolved. The bleeding had stopped at that point. I had stayed in the hospital for about 3 nights. I spotted one more time. Still nothing found at that point. I was not able to return to work, so I was totally uprooted. I was the primary income maker, had to live 2 hours away from home. I had family and friends where my OBGYN was, but it was just very like jolting. Like, I can't work, but I have no answers. I can't go home. She let me do day trips home, but I have no answers as to why this is happening. Fast forward 39 weeks, and I go into labor, end up needing an emergency C-section, and the recovery from that C-section was awful. Like, I felt sick head to toe, so much pain. It was just like I had the flu 24/7. And I was like, don't women schedule these? Aren't they like excited to have these? I thought, like, no way is this normal. What is going on? Went to the follow-up. Everything's fine. Nothing's wrong. It should clear. You're fine. Some women just have this. Again, no workup, no answers, done. Fast forward 1 year later, I get my first period, and I cannot physically stand up. Like, literally, legs give out, can't stand up. Thank gosh I had hoarded some oxycodone from that C-section, and I took it. And when I did stand up, again, gushes of blood, so much pain, again, felt physically ill, head to toe, flu-like symptoms. I was met with, this is just bad luck. This happens to some women. No further workup, no answers. And at that moment, it was just getting harder and harder and harder for me as a healthcare provider to hear that as the answer. And then it was every period was like that. My cycles had completely shifted after having that C-section and a baby, that I was like physically in bed and not able to get up and just sick. No answers. This is just crap luck. This is what happens to some people. And I had met a provider. I had started my own business at that point too. I was getting really burnt out of a decade of that, of rural healthcare. And I really was starting to pivot into helping infertility patients. I'd started a nonprofit for infertility because there was no insurance coverage. I was doing advocacy work to get insurance coverage. And then I had started a telemedicine business out of my basement, serving 3 states for infertility. And I was like, I'm going to start a podcast. And I had an endometriosis specialist during March, during Endometriosis Awareness Month. And during that podcast, I was like, after we hit stop, I was like, yeah, so I need to see you. I'm quite certain I have endometriosis. And it was in that moment, I was like, how many women are going through this and have experienced this medical gaslighting journey? There was a lot more that was said to me and not said to me and not done, and no options given, or one option of, here's your birth control. Here's your birth control was like the only story that was given to me. And in that journey too, I had also went through, I had asked to go part-time at my job so I could grow my telemedicine business. They said, we're going to cut you to help out. We'll call you when we need you. 6 months later, went through an unexpected divorce. I call it an unexpected expected divorce. It wasn't talked about much, and it was really out of nowhere, the timing of it. But I just had so much that had erupted in that time too, that I really, at that moment in that podcast, when I interviewed that endometriosis doc, kind of like took a look at my whole life and was like, what am I doing? Like, where are we going from here? What can I do for myself? Like, I'm a healthcare provider and I feel like helpless. How many other women feel completely helpless in their healthcare journeys with no answers, no options? And I pivoted out of just infertility in my career and my business to just women's health in general. And it just blew from there, and it has been ever growing to the point every woman in our practice, and we now serve more than just women, but I have 9 providers who will see women every day, and every single one of those women has been medically gaslit. And it's devastating. It's traumatic, and the mental health that goes along with that. It's unacceptable, which needs to be talked about more.
That's incredible. Your story is incredible and inspiring. And thank you for sharing all of that. I mean, I think there's such power in everything you just said. And just to sort of recap at a high level, you had experienced this medical gaslighting as a patient through various stages in your life. And that led you to start a nonprofit. You opened your own private practice health clinic. So, major career shift. On top of that, you had a major relationship,
Major.
right? But you say, what I love is you say that it pushed you to stop playing it safe and you committed to building a purpose driven life and career.
Absolutely. When my divorce happened, I started sharing about this more because I have to. I was the primary income maker who had just lost a 6-figure job 6 months prior and then lost the other stable part. We were divorced in 18 days. And I mean, it helps to have an attorney as a friend, right? But like we were very mutual about it. It should have been done years prior. But I went in to full on panic mode. I went to my local social services office, collected a packet, and was about to fill out a packet for financial services when I had just been the North Dakota Nurse Practitioner President. I had graduated from George Washington. I had the 6-figure career. I was in all these committees, and I'm picking up a packet. And I had a moment. I sat on the couch and I said, I'm going to give myself 90 days of being an entrepreneur before I turn this packet in. I'm going to really evaluate. I can do this. Like I can do this hard thing. I said, people quit their 6-figure jobs to be entrepreneurs. I'm pretty sure that's the title or in a paragraph in the dictionary somewhere. What is an entrepreneur? Quits corporate 6-figure job and hustles, grinds, and does what they love to do. Why am I leaning into fear more than faith and confidence in me and what I can do and what I love to do? Why don't I just try this? Why don't I just try 90 days of this? I will fill it out, and I let it sit there for 90 days, and I was able to get rid of that packet. But there was a lot of dark moments, in that time too, that came along with, how am I going to do this? Am I worthy of this? Can I do that? I live in a town still of 750, that's not currently, but in that moment of 750 people. How am I going to grow back into how am I going to build a career in my basement? It was just, there were so many things that looked like I couldn't do it, but it was a shift that happened in that moment that I had to make that decision to shift out of that mindset.
And what helped you make that shift?
I loved doing the work that I did as an entrepreneur every day. I was able to wake up. I set a routine that made me feel good. I had to feel good, right? So what I used to do was, get up, make my coffee. I had put a TV in my office, and I love the morning shows. And I'm like, I'm going to put the morning shows on. I'm going to look, is there grants out there for me as a business owner? What is available for me to help? What are the areas financially? Mentors. I found a women's business organization to help mentor me. So I started looking for the resources and the tools and taking the steps in the areas that I didn't know how to do. I know how to serve patients. I didn't know how to grow a business. So it's finding the tools and the resources of whatever branch that might be so that I can stay focused at the lane that I was good at, which was serving and helping women at that time.
Love it. Love it. So you were lit up by the work that you were doing. You knew this was your calling. You knew that this was meant for you. So there's part of that was the why. And then the other part of what I'm hearing is like women are very resourceful, but at the same time, we also have a hard time asking for help.
Ooh, what is that? That has taken, that's still taking work, I feel like.
Right. And so as an entrepreneur, I love what you said. It's like, I was damn good at what I did, but didn't really know how to start a business. And same here. I was the one who left the 6-figure job and started my own business and had no idea how to be an entrepreneur, right? But you learn, you figure it out. You don't do it on your own. No. And so I love what you said about, getting the support that you need to make that life and career that you dream of happen. So that's incredible. I also love when you talk about your medical journey. A lot of women do experience this, medical gaslighting where they're told it's unknown origin or idiopathic, I think is the clinical term that we use,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so you said, no. I think most of us accept that. And you were like, no, that's not good enough. And I think that can play out in many facets of our life where we accept the status quo as fine or enough, or we're putting trust in authority or some quote unquote expert. And you didn't.
My statement that I say to my patients every day, you are with your body 24/7, not me or any healthcare provider. You know your body best. There is no woman who wants to feel and wake up and feel the way that they do when they aren't feeling well every day. Why would they take the time out of their day, take the time off of work to go to a healthcare provider's office and have all these, I don't feel good, I have hair loss, I'm gaining weight, I'm moody, I'm sad, I'm irritable, blah, 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 blah. They're like, the healthcare system, right? Grow their healthcare team. I'm super big on you need to have a team of people working for you and only you get to create that team. Who cares if your PCP doesn't believe in a chiropractor or thinks acupuncture is woo-woo? We don't need them to believe that. If you believe it and you want to do it, then you get to do that. Like if you want energy work, if you want to see the, surgeon and the OBGYN and the PT, nobody but you gets to say who's on your team. So I really try, and the hardest part for me is when they enter my office, they've been so beaten down already that it takes them quite a while to even make that appointment to come to my office, because why am I any different? I take insurance. I'm a nurse practitioner. Like what's different about other than like if you were to see my office, there's couches and pillows and chairs and lamps and rugs and plants. And we try to really make it feel different. There's music. We wear, different clothes. We're not wearing the scary coats. I try everything I can. And then the moment they walk in, I greet them and I set the intention. You're in a safe space. Nothing is silly, goofy, or off limits here. I want you to feel like you can ask me anything, share anything, and it's safe here. And I've actually created our intakes based on patients. So every question we ask in our office is because of the symptoms and the situations that my patients over the last 4 years have went through. They've created our intakes. We know what we should be asking every single patient that walks in this door on the first visit because it's been missed for 10, 20, 15 years of their healthcare. So again, to go back to that, I really think patients should have a feeling of comfort and ease, and they should also be feeling better when they leave an office physically, mentally, not just because one of my providers who gaslit me, I call her the queen of gaslighting. She makes everyone feel really good. You're beautiful. You're pretty. How's it going? Hey girl, like super hype girl. But then when it comes to the medical piece, it's complete gaslighting. And that's not, I can do it all. Why would you go to this person? I can do the same as that specialist 5 states away can. And like really so patients have to kind of really use their sense of they know that internal feeling, that intuition. Please always follow that. Get a second opinion, get a third opinion. It doesn't mean that person is a bad person or not a good person or not great. They're just not it for you right now. We outgrow shoes. We outgrow cars. We outgrow houses. We can outgrow healthcare providers. We're not married to them. We get to easily divorce the healthcare provider. We can easily just put them over here and come back to them at any point in time. You owe no explanation. Go get some other opinions, get some alternative aspects to your care until you start to actually physically, mentally feel better, or that you're in a good space with your health. Because if you're not in a good space with your health, how are you going to care for your community, your kids, your family, your job, your this, your that, your friends, your social? Like, how can you take care of all of that when your physical health is not well? You can't. You start to just become this empty body walking around. And that is the last thing that we want for you to feel. Last thing.
Yeah. I think that's incredible. It's so powerful to hear you say that, because it is what so many women experience, but nobody articulates.
Right.
So you are that voice, and I appreciate that so much. And I know the women listening appreciate it as well. So many women are taught, I think, as we grow up, we're taught to downplay the pain. They doubt themselves. They defer to other people, and that becomes our norm. And I love what you said about trusting your body, listening to your intuition. You're the expert of your body, not the provider with the clipboard who sees you for
Right.
15 minutes.
Right.
And so I think that's incredibly impactful. I know personally, over 20 years ago, I remember having, as I'm reflecting on my own health journey and hearing you talk, I remember having some issues. I went to the OBGYN. She did a couple tests and she said, oh, you might maybe have PCOS. I don't know. Here's a pill. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
That's a statement that drives me, kind of maybe sort of looks like, what does that mean?
What does that mean? And so, but I accepted it. I was
Yep.
in my 20s. I didn't know better, wasn't well informed, did not challenge authority, listened to the expert, and went on my merry way. And last year, I conducted a national research study with 750 women across the country, working women. And one of the data points that came out of it, this is probably an underrepresentation, but one of the questions I asked was, have you had medical concerns dismissed by a healthcare provider? And 43% of women said yes. So nearly half of women have experienced some form of this. So from your perspective, why is it so prevalent? Why is it so rampant? And how can we protect ourselves? The flip side of that is women don't want to be seen as quote unquote difficult.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yes. It is two-part, I believe, maybe even more than two-part. The first one that comes to my mind is culture, how we were raised. If I look at how I was raised, suck it up, put some dirt on it. We don't talk about we don't talk about our periods, our pain, let alone miscarriage. And we don't talk about that stuff. I come from a very quiet, my dad to this day is still one of the most quiet people. We don't even, hugging and saying, I love you is even, what is that? Right. So if we don't even do that, how hard is it to enter a cold, sterile environment and be like, I am not well? To just even say, I am not feeling good, when for the number one question that for endometriosis, for example, a Harvard study came out that showed nearly 100% of teen girls who went home from school or activities due to their period had endometriosis. So I've even tailored my questions to be like, if you could have went home, would you have? Because how many of us were like, I want to go home. I'm not feeling it. Suck it up. Stay in school. If you could get past, I don't have a school nurse in my school, but let alone the male principal that wouldn't let me even call my parents to say I wasn't feeling good, let alone if I did call that, they were busy working to put food on the table. They're not going to let me come home. It's a whole cultural thing, right? So then we just suck it up. Then you put the trauma of that into 10, 15 years, and now we think we're crazy. How many women in my office say, I know I'm probably just crazy, or I know I'm just being dramatic. And I'm like, no. I just had a text message, ironically, from one of my staff members who's in the hospital with pain. And she's like, I'm hard on myself about these things. Thank you for understanding. And I'm like, they're admitting you to the hospital. You need to just take care of you right now and believe your pain. Your pain is real right now, right? We're even entering a hospital, an ER, and we're still doubting and being hard on ourselves as women about our pain. We should suck it up. Just this pill should work. I got a very high pain. It's like a badge. It's like you're going to get a badge from the Girl Scout Club if you just grin and bear that pain.
And guess what? Spoiler alert, there's no badge. There's
Spoiler alert.
Award.
No awards, none. That's why I was like, I'm going to do a home birth and hypnosis. That was my thing, right? I was going to do a natural birth. And I was like, what trophy? Is there a club? Do I get sky miles?
Right.
I'm not give me the pain med. I suck at pain. I can't handle pain. I'm done. I'm done trying to even personally be that. But then it moves into how many appointments have we had as females when we have brought our concerns forward and we have talked about our pain or our hair loss or our what have you. And we're told this is normal. This is part of aging. This is just how periods are. This is just how, you get a scope done. It's normal. You get a colonoscopy done. It's normal. You get this done. It's normal. Your labs you're told normal. You get thrown two options. Here's your birth control. Here's your SSRI. Maybe here's a hysterectomy. We'll rip your ovaries. You're just getting thrown one option. And then let's say you do know about other options and you bring them up. That's garbage. That's witchcraft. That's not evidence-based. You're met with these not actual, those are gaslighting statements coming out of their mouth, because I get it in my community, and I hope they're listening to this. I'm going to share the heck out of it. I get berated all the time for practicing non-evidence-based medicine. I'm sorry, everything I do is evidence-based. You are just in a corporate healthcare system with no continuing education, obviously, but it's like everything. I joke, I'm not a Pinterest medicine person. I'm not like going to Pinterest and pulling this off there and doing it, right? I just have a nice way of looking at alternative modalities,
Sure.
Eastern and Western, and blending them, but most importantly, allowing the patient to have a say.
Sure.
What do you want? Do you want supplements? Do you want medications? Do you want both? Do you care? Should I just mix you up a soup of it? Giving options to patients is one of the most empowering thing, and allowing them to have a say and allowing them to share. I'd like to have acupuncture. Is that okay with you? Sure. I love acupuncture. So that's a bad example for me, but it's like, just because the healthcare provider doesn't do it themselves, isn't familiar with it, they should really stop saying the stuff that's coming out of their mouth, because it's actually not true what they're saying. It's very evidence-based. Many of these things are very evidence-based. Let the patient pick. If they would just let the patient pick and stop saying that they can do it all, that's the thing. You'll hear the big corporate medicine people say, I can do it all. I can do everything. What do you need? I can do the same thing.
You don't need that.
Yeah, you don't need that. I can do it all. I'm like, you can't though. You're actually not licensed. You're not resident trained to do that surgery.
Yeah. You're doing them a disservice.
And you're doing them a disservice. They would do so much more as a provider for themselves and their patients if they just allowed patients to have a say and stop suppressing what the patient wants.
Love that. Love that.
And give it options.
Options, I think, are very empowering for women to know what
Yes.
are my options, feeling heard, having it validated, and then here are your options, right? I think is incredibly powerful.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
For the women listening who feel like they've been dismissed by their provider, what's her first move?
Trust your body. If you do not feel well, you're not well. Period behind that. If there is something wrong, if I'll use Wake In as the example. They're like, I've gained 10 pounds. Everyone's like, you're not fat. You look so skinny. You look great. If you don't feel well and that is abnormal for you, then it's not well. And you need to look into that and have it further investigated. Just because labs are normal doesn't mean they're normal. The ranges are this big, and medicine is an art. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of ways to approach medicine, and really just knowing that you don't have to stick with, if you love your provider, amazing. That is such a blessing. But if you're not feeling heard and you're constantly going in and you don't feel good and you're not moving the dial, then seek a second, third, or fourth opinion. Grow your team. Social media is also such a powerful place. There's a lot of really educated people putting out amazing information. And that's the huge shift, I think, too, that's happening is, honestly, the crazy thing about where I live is there's literally less than 10 people in the whole state that are probably healthcare people on social media putting information out. It's wild, actually. My office does well because we align with what's up to date, what's advancing. We're not scared to try new things. If there's something new out there or an advancement happening in any aspect from men's health to infertility, women's health to pediatric to mental health, we are on top of it. I am at an educational session monthly, but really having that patient take a look at what they want and what they desire, and knowing it's okay to step out of what they've been doing for the last 5, 10, 20 years. You don't have to stay in that lane. They can have 5 lanes, 10 lanes. They are in control of what they want to do to their body. It's their body. Stop letting somebody else, just because they got MD behind their name or NP or whatever, medical degree behind their name, dictate what should be done or not done. They are in control.
And there are so many incredible alternative options these days too.
Many.
Yeah.
So many. Like, it is so wild. Like, I'm looking at things like ovarian rejuvenation and PRP therapy. It's so cool.
Yeah.
When you actually look at what's happening and what's to come, like, and peptides. And I'm such a nerd with that stuff that I'm like, my patients are probably my patients probably get whiplash. I'm like, oh, I got this new thing. You want to try it with me? I'm doing it. Like, I'm always like, you want to do it with me?
I love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Just before we wrap up, Dr. Tara, what would you say is the one shift that changed everything for you?
I got like goosebumps and tears in my eyes when you say that. Taking care of you is the direct reflection of every other aspect of your life, from relationships to job to community to organization to family to spiritual. If you do not hit pause and take care of yourself, and that's whatever that looks spiritually, mentally, physically. You can't be there for everybody else. And don't let outside. My ex-husband was not a supporter of me, was not supportive of my nonprofit, my business. Great person, just not my person. And so really taking a look at what are some things, I'm not saying everyone go get a new husband, but like, what are some things that are happening externally that are holding you back too, right? Like outside of our health, what are some other areas? Like, what are some mindset shifts? Like, just because I lived in a town of 750 people, it doesn't mean I couldn't start a practice in 5 different states, blowing things up in the healthcare system. Go follow your heart. Follow your heart, take the leap, and don't let a divorce, or my divorce was probably a very pivotal moment in my life, in that financial block and getting that packet from social services and going, I've now entered that. I have that road I'm going to take, or do I have that road I'm going to take? And believing in yourself and believing that you're worthy of absolutely anything you want to chase, and feeling good while you do that.
Oh, you gave me chills. That's such
Oh,
amazing
I know, I was
advice.
like trying to cry. I was like, oh my God, like literally like goosebumpy eyes, everything.
Grab the tissues. Oh my
Grab the
goodness.
tissues. Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you so much, Dr. Tara, for being here, for sharing your story, your expertise, and the work that you are doing. It's absolutely
Thank you.
incredible. Where can our listeners find you, learn more about you, and if they're interested in your clinic?
Yeah. So I'm at Dr. Tara Harding on the socials, website. My website's drtaraharding.com, but I'm an open book on Instagram. Message me. Of course, the TikToks out there, went viral on the period conversations, but really my inbox, I always say that my inbox is truly always open. Drop in, say hi, share your story. I love connecting with other women across the country, and just being there to hold a safe space, for them. And yeah, drop in, say hi.
So beautiful and so needed for women today.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tara. And thanks everyone for tuning in this week. We'll see you next week. Now go make shift happen. Take care. All right, shifter, that's a wrap on today's episode of What the Shift. But here's the thing, awareness is just the first step. The real shift happens when you decide to do something with it. So before you go back to business as usual, ask yourself, what is one thing you are done carrying? What's one shift you're ready to make? And if this episode hit home, don't keep it to yourself. Hit subscribe, leave a review, and send it to a woman who needs to hear this, because we shift together. Remember, you don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to take the next step. And I'll be right here next week, ready to shift with you. This is What the Shift, and we are just getting started.